There are many mediums to choose from in photography. Often a person will begin with still life photography and work their way towards portraits, wildlife, or landscapes depending upon their interests. Still life photography teaches a person to use light and shadows to find the emotion of the object. Here I will discuss many different aspects of still life pictures. Still life expresses the photographer's self while using inanimate objects such as pottery, flowers, candles, leaves, and fruit. The first step in still life photography is the lighting. You will want the object to have light from a single direction, so that you can cast shadows as well as light on the object. This will give it a depth of field and dimension. You will need to choose whether you want a soft or harsh light. The more harsh the light, the more shadow you will have. Often in still life, reflectors are used to tone the light down. The best type of lighting for still life photography is side lighting because you will attain more contrast between the object. With still life photography, you have color control. You can choose the colors of the objects you use. When choosing the colors, say with leaves and fruits, you will want a contrast in colors, but retain a natural look. Harmony is the best word to use when attaining color control. The color will attract the viewer's eye, so if it is displeasing to you, the chances are your viewers will find it just as displeasing. With still life, you can choose an abstract motif. You may choose to put two objects together that do not make sense, but create a moving picture. You might have an interesting cut on fruit, such as a melon, to reveal the inside core. The angle of the cut and the meaning of the picture will require thought from the viewer. Some viewers see different from what another viewer might see. This happens in the art world daily. What one thinks represents art, another finds unappealing. Never let these influence your dreams and stop you from becoming even better in your work as a photographer. You can also have control of variations. You can use the same subject repeatedly with different backgrounds, arrangements, and other objects. The key is to avoid clutter while creating contrast. The rule of thirds of composition is a great way to utilize still life objects. You can create a pattern based on the rule of thirds. Setting up the arrangements and trying several shots will lead you to finding the harmony between the objects. You may think still life photography lacks the depth of other mediums, however, it can be used as a stepping stone to greater photography. Still life can include an arranged garden to please the eye or a natural look. You can use natural light to offset the shadows and find the contrast. Still life inside or outside, creating the arrangements is just one way to find pictures you will wish to display or give to friends. Remember, lighting, color, and variations on arrangements will provide you with tons of subjects. Applications for still life photography can include taking photographs for magazines. Often magazines have still life photos to show flower arrangements or decorating ideas for the home. With the many choices in photography, still life takes a special eye for arranging objects and understanding lighting techniques. With all of photography being art, you need to pick the subjects that will speak most to you and make them speak to others. These types of pictures go well when deciding to sell your photos or display them for the public. All pictures, whether you think it or not, may be just what someone wants to display and may offer to buy it. This helps you start a real gold mine of a business if you feel confident with your work. Landscape photography is widely popular. I am sure if you look around your home, you will see at least 2 landscape prints that spoke to you. Photography is an art that has a message. As a photographer, you have to find the message you want to portray. If you specialize in landscape photography, you might think your task is easy to complete. As with any photography, you have to pay attention to the details, the lighting, shadows, subject, and the equipment. Black and white landscape photography is the hardest section to attain true artistry because you are not relying on the colors as much as the lights and shadows the image will create. Composition is very important. Composition in photography means to look for sharp edges, tones, and textures. The basis of black and white photography is getting the camera to see what your eye sees in color, to bring the highlights and shadows forward with the angle of the picture. Typical subjects for black and white photography are buildings and water. Water gives the surrounding trees and rocks a contrast while drawing the eye. Landscape can encompass buildings or bridges among other subjects. Buildings lend to the angles and contrast you seek when trying for definition and emotion. When landscape photography is your subject in color, you will need to have contrast between the colors. If the sky is blue and you have blue water below, chances are the picture isn't going to have the contrast you are hoping for. Like black and white photography, you need to have definition or composition in the shot. You will need to take a few minutes to set up the shot and perhaps take several frames before being satisfied. Color photography takes less skill than black and white photography, so if you have mastered the last, you will succeed at the first. Lighting for landscape photography is natural rather artificial. This is important when setting up your shot. You will need to have filters for the sunlight if it is a bright day, perhaps a tripod to set up the shot, and a professional grade camera to create professional prints. Studying your subject from all angles is also important. You want to make sure you are picking the best angle for the shot. Remember, the message is brought forth by the skill of the photographer. Your abilities should be honed and practiced. Digital photography makes landscape photography easier because you can assess the photo before you leave a site. Again, the LCD screen isn't going to show you every aspect of the print, so you will want to take a few shots of the same site to ensure a perfect picture. Even being an amateur photographer, you can gain professional-looking landscape photography. The best way to gain great photographs is to practice with a subject. Going back to the same site during different seasons can help you hone your skills and net you an even better print the next time around. All photographers start at the same level. Some may have innate skills and an eye for the photo, but practice will lead to the best print. Landscape photography may not require the skills of wildlife photography with panning the subject or portraits where you have to enliven your subject. However, it does require skills and practice. Babies are very cute, and nothing makes a parent prouder than sharing pictures of their new child. Everybody loves looking at pictures of babies, too. If you have a little one in the house, get your camera ready and start sharing those cute baby pictures today. The more pictures you have, the more fun you will have showing your precious pictures. Here are some great ideas to help you take better shots of your baby. Stay ready. You can never know when your baby will do something entertaining or do something for the first time. For that reason, you always need to have your camera nearby and ready to go. That means making sure you have plenty of film if you use a film camera, and making sure you'll have enough room on your memory stick or card if you use digital. You will also want to make sure that you have enough battery life in your camera at all times. Many parents use more than one camera, too. You can even put a disposable camera in the car or diaper bag for times that are just too cute to pass up. Get candid shots. Some of the sweetest pictures of babies are candid shots. You can take memorable pictures of your baby taking a bottle, sleeping and smiling. Candid shots look much more relaxed and natural than posed shots, and you will only feel frustrated trying to be posed shots anyway. Babies are notorious for not cooperating for posed pictures. Do not waste your time and take candid shots instead. Do not forget to take pictures of every part of your baby, such as those fat little fingers or those tiny toes. Those are always sweet reminders of this young age. If you have a good zoom lens, you can often take great candid shots of your baby from a distance. These are great because your baby will never even know you are there. Take pictures in black and white. You cannot get very many adorable pictures of your baby taken in black and white or in sepia tones. You can guarantee that grandma and grandpa will be gushing over those, too. Most digital cameras come with black and white and sepia settings, so take advantage. In addition, when you take black and white, you do not have to worry about what your baby is wearing, because everything looks good. The more natural the pictures, the more fun you will have looking at them in the future. Kids caught doing what they do best is always a showstopper. They offer hours of enjoyment, and catching all the excitement counts. Take plenty of shots. You should take plenty shots of the baby doing the same thing. You may take 25 of the babies crawling of the first time, but may only get 2 or 3 that are worth using. The more pictures you take, the more you have to choose from, the better. It is always best to take more than not enough. A professional as well as amateurs know that not all pictures turn out, especially if you use a high-speed camera. Just keep taking pictures to ensure you capture the moment. Do something with those pictures. The last tip is to make sure you actually do something with your pictures after you take them. So many people leave undeveloped rolls of film sitting around for months or never print their digital pictures. Babies grow and change too fast. You should make it a point to print and share your pictures every week. In addition, if you use digital pictures, you should always make sure you back up your pictures onto a disk on a regular basis. You certainly do not want to lose these irreplaceable photos. This has happened to many successful photographers and does cause quite a commotion when you lose all your precious moments that you never again will see. Photography has been around for more than a century and our topics will never cease. There is portrait, landscape, wedding, and wildlife photography, just to name a few. One of the most rewarding styles of photography centers on wildlife. It may take you several hours before finding the perfect picture and capturing it, but the reward is more than worth the wait. Wildlife photography is perhaps the most difficult in the profession. You have to have the time, inclination, and of course the camera. Most wildlife shots are captured using a telephoto lens because the animal will not walk near you. Every once in a while you will be able to capture the fox, elk, bear or other animal as it comes through the woods in your path, however most of the time they are yards away and elusive. Wildlife photography doesn't wait for you to happen along and snap a photo. You need to immerse yourself in the sight. You choose your camera at the ready, and set for the light of the day. Most automatic cameras work great on the preset for those who are just learning to take wildlife photographs. Photography has always been about the moment, and the best photographers can catch the moment with the speed and agility of the animal they are capturing. Start with small subjects when you begin your foray into wildlife photography. Practice on your pet. Let them roam naturally and see if you can capture the wild and crazy moments on film without the photograph ending up blurry. All great photographers have studied and practiced. They also use more than one shot. Making sure your camera has a quick shutter speed will help you take more than one shot as you move with the animal. When you have the subject in your sight, you need to follow it while focusing and then quickly snap as many pictures as you can before they move out of sight. This technique is known as panning. Rather than the subject coming to you, you follow the subject. When you have mastered your pets, you can begin to explore the outdoor world of wildlife photography. Some of your subjects will be standing still, and this is another practice technique. Be aware of the lighting and placement while trying not to disturb the animal. It is most easy to get a squirrel when they are intent on eating or foraging for food. If you stay silent and walk carefully, you can often get pretty close. If you are choosing a larger subject such as a deer or bear, you will want to stay far enough away to get the shot, and not draw attention to yourself. Bears are dangerous creatures, but they can be photographed if you use common sense and don't tread upon their territory. Wildlife photography, and thus the photographers, have a code of ethics when attaining the perfect shots. You will want to follow these ethics for your safety and the animals. Wildlife photography is a waiting game for the perfect picture to sprint across your viewfinder. It takes patience and a lot of practice, but the reward of having a family member or friend go, "Where did you get that photograph? I have got to have one," will sweeten the deal.